Okay, hopefully that's the audio sorted, but thank you very much, Bradley, for checking that out for me. So there is a PDF to go along with today's lesson, and that's something that you can download and follow me as we're going along. And of course, if you aren't already, please follow me on my social media, which you can see on this screen here. Okay, so you can see my social media. Come and give me a follow if you guys are enjoying this, and give me a like and a subscribe. Lovely. Okay, so the first drill we're going to check out is we're going to take like a really basic pattern, and we're going to do this action. We're playing eighth notes, and we're going to do this action where we're going bow, bell, bow, bell, bow, bell. You're going to hear me say that a lot today. It sounds ridiculous. Bow, bell, bow, bell. And we're going to be doing like a two-step motion like that. Now underneath, we're just going to be doing some normal bass drums and some normal snare drums. So we're not doing anything too crazy with this first drill, a bit like this. So that's nice and easy, you know, the pattern is very easy to follow there. Now I'll actually show it to you and then we'll break it down. So for a lot of newer drummers, that's actually quite tricky to do because they're just so set on just playing on one part of the ride cymbal. So it is what it is. It's an eighth note groove in 4/4 time. And if I think of like the positive positions, which is where the numbers are, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's on the bell. And then all the ands, 1 and 2 and, are falling on the bow of the ride cymbal. So I'll just do that once more for you guys. And I think what a lot of people find is tricky about that is one of the bass drums is on the bell, and then the second bass drum is on the bow, like this. So I think many people find that a little bit tricky when they've never had to do that before. So that's the first drill. Now for the next few drills, we're going to be sticking with this sort of two-dimensional ride cymbal pattern, bell, bow, and we're going to start seeing different combos for the bass and snare, stuff that takes it to the next level. So for instance, if you were to look at the next example, which is bars 3 and 4, we've got a pattern like this. So really easy to follow that until you start playing this more progressive ride cymbal pattern, okay, which I'll show you now. Okay, so that definitely takes it to the next step because again, there are some bass drums that fall on the bell, which feels good, and there's a few bass drums that fall away on the bow, which is obviously the harder ones, particularly in that second bar where you have to do this. Usually that can be a little bit problematic for some people. Okay, I'm trusting that the audio is all okay now, but once again, Bradley, thanks for checking that out for me, dude. Just give me a shout if it happens again. I think I know what's causing it now, which is always nice. All right, so we're going to move on to the next pattern now. So this is bars, just bar 5. It's just a 1-bar phrase, this one. So I think once you've got that ride pattern down, the bell, bow, it's 8th notes. If you're comfortable with 8th note snares and bass drums underneath it, I'd say the next logical thing to do is to check out some 16th note bass and snares underneath it. You know, these are called subbeats in this particular occasion, and that's just going to make this this scenario just that extra bit trickier. So if I show you bar 5, I'll actually go fast and then gradually go slower so you can hear it broken down. So I'm hoping that you can see the obvious reasons for why that's a bit trickier than the first 2 examples. Just adding subbeats, adding 16th note subbeats just makes it that little bit trickier as you're doing this bell to bow position. Now, I'm going to put you back on the front cam like that, and let's talk quickly about some technique when you're doing something like this. There's tons of different ways in which you can hit the ride cymbal, but my preferred way is a little bit like a soaring action like this, and the wrist is almost independent of this action, so the wrist is like this extra bit of control, plus all the fingers as well. So yeah, you can see it on the camera. I go forward for the bell and then backwards for the bow, and it becomes a bit of a soaring motion like this. And there are other ways you can do it, but I do like it when this part of the stick, the shaft part, or the shoulder I should say, is striking the bell. If I do it on the overhead cam now, you guys can see for real what I mean about that. So you can see it there straight away, that it falls really nicely on the shoulder of the stick, and then you get the bow on the tip. So that's the technique we're looking for as you're trying the majority of those drills. I just find that you get like a way more satisfying feeling, and also the sound is a bit thicker, so you know that bell really cuts through if you play it in that particular way. I find that if you hit the bell with the tip of the stick, then it's a little bit weaker. Hopefully you guys can hear that straight away. It's quite a large difference. Good, all right, now let's progress then. So if you're looking at now the 4th example, which I think is bar 6 in the PDF, then this one is harder. Yes, it has some subbeats, so we've still got some 16th notes coming into play, but now we've got some displacement, so that first snare isn't on beat 2 anymore. It's on the 8th note afterwards, which is the and of beat 2. So I'll play it slowly for you first. All right, so yeah, I'm hoping that you're seeing that displacement makes you have to think just that extra little bit more about how the 2-dimensional bell to bow action is working. All right, so I'll play that one much faster for you now. Sounds ultra funky. Okay, nice. So hopefully you guys are enjoying those patterns. Now, with those first 4 drills, you can invert the 2-dimensional pattern that we've been making up. So let's put both cams on so you guys can see this. So instead of going bell bow, which is 1 and, you can just flip them around the other way to go bow bell, which is 1 and the bell ends up on the offbeat. So it largely depends on the context or the song that you're playing in. But I think this particular pattern I'm about to show you is a little bit more like dance driven. So I'll show you it on, I don't know, we'll go back to something like pattern on bar 5. I'll show you that one much quicker, and what I think I'll do this time is I'll actually flip between the bell being on the number or the bell being on the and. So here we go. So again, I'm hoping that you can see that contrast, and it's nice to be able to have control of those 2 types of feels. One of them is very much on the beat, the other one is very much off beat, hence why it works well for like dance music and styles like that. Good, okay, let's keep pushing forward, guys, but I'll say at this point again, if you just started watching, feel free to follow me on the social media that's over here, and there is a PDF which you can download to follow along with this. And if you guys are digging this and want to support me, then please feel free to donate. There's also a PayPal link in there if you guys are digging this sort of thing. But I'm definitely loving the live streams. Also, feel free, I'm keeping my eye on the comments. So if you want to put anything you like in the comments, you can say where you're watching from if you like, or sort of drumming that you're interested in. Maybe you guys can write some of your heroes in there, people that inspire you to want to pick up the sticks and play. And of course, do let me know if there's any other audio issues as well. So it's just something I've been trying to iron out over the last couple of sessions as I do it on the big kit like this. Anyway, now we're gonna change gears a little bit now then. So most of the patterns from now on are much more progressive, meaning that the ride doesn't follow something as predictable anymore, like bell to bow. That's obviously very on off. With this particular groove, it's strategically placed in a more musical way, which is kind of where I was heading with this masterclass, is more interesting ride bell patterns. So I'll play it for you first. This is going to be bar 7 only. I'll play it for you like sort of normal to fast, and then I'll gradually break it down for you. Okay, so that first little 16th note blast is simply going right, left, left, right. That's what we're looking for with this particular pattern. So it brings in a little bit more of a rudimental aspect, right, left, left, right. And when you get to the last bass and snare, we want to return to 2 strong bell hits. So that's what we're looking for with that particular pattern. Other than that, there's not much else to say about it. It's probably more focused on that little chop at the beginning, right, left, right. Just making sure that feels really good. All right, nice one. Oh, thank you, Bradley. Thanks for your comments and thank you for helping me. Enjoy your day at work. I'm keeping an eye on the comments, everyone. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you are enjoying this, please let me know. But I am glad the audio is all okay. All right, nice one. So let's keep pushing forward then. So we're gonna keep pushing with this like progressive ride cymbal feel. With the next one, trying to think who I picked this up from. This is very much in the spirit of someone like Taylor Hawkins, maybe Stuart Copeland, maybe Jose Pasillas, a couple of really, really great rock drummers. Of course, Foo Fighters, The Police, and Incubus. So I'm going to just play this one for you first, and then we'll break it down if we need to. Here we go. So definitely a cool pattern where all the interesting ride bell stuff is happening right at the beginning, which is bars 8 and 9 I was just playing there for you. So at this point then, we're going to talk about the technique side of things again. So I'm just going to put you on the front camera. The technique side of things. So I've always thought of the ride cymbal as being a whole bunch of tones that you can like reach out and grab. Literally reach out and grab the sounds and you take the ones that you want. So we've already talked about the bow, the bell, and the edge as well. So when I'm doing a pattern like this where it's going bass, bass, snare, bass, bass, I'm really wanting to reach out and grab the sound that the bell has. I want to grab that tone and push it in your face. Watch again. I'm reaching out and trying to grab that sound, and of course the more you do of this type of thing, the more instinctive it becomes and you can begin to improv around it, like just reaching out and grabbing sounds from your drum kit. And I think that attitude really begins with something like the ride cymbal, or sometimes the tom-toms or hi-hat chokes can often have that kind of mindset as well. So yeah, I'm just going to play it slow again. There's not really much else to say. Like bar 8 is where all the action is. Bar 9 is just kind of like a filler bar getting you ready to do that nice bell pattern again. So there you go, that's bars 8 and 9 for you. Okay, we've got 4 more patterns left to try. All of them have their own like genres that they want to fit into. So I think a lot of the ones we're just doing then are more rock or more pop based. But I'd say this next one could quite happily sit in something a little bit more urban, a little bit more hip hop driven. Although having said that, this is also ripped from a rock song, but I often think this style really feels like it was born in like hip hop genres and lots of urban genres. So let's check this one out then. This is bar 10, just bar 10 here. We've got 16th notes with our right hand. And what's happening here is every so often we're reaching out for the sound of the bell. I think it's going with every bass drum except for the last bell, which is independent right at the very end. So I'm going to play this one slowly for you, just so you can get a vibe with it. So there I was playing it pretty slow for you guys, and hopefully you can hear there's a little bit of an urban vibe going on, or a bit of a gospel vibe. If I start to play this faster, you'll probably then realise that it's quite nice having the snare drum just on its own, because no snare drum has the ride cymbal on top with this particular beat. And in my mind, I wrote this with a much faster tempo in mind, something like this. So there is a much more faster, aggressive tempo. So yeah, that one, hopefully it's self-explanatory. You're basically reaching out for the bell every time you're doing a bass, bar that last bell right at the end of the pattern. All right, so that one's easier than it may appear until you start really pushing the tempo on that one, and you have to get quite a fast right hand to be able to keep up with it. But that's why the snare drum is played on its own, because it gives your right hand just that extra moment of respite before it starts motoring off again. Nice one. Okay, we're now going to be looking at bars 11 and 12 on the PDF. And again, thanks for all who have tuned in so far. At this point, I'll say again, follow me on my social media on the side here, like Twitter and Instagram. And if you guys are enjoying this, then there is a link to show your support through a donation as well. So thanks in advance for the people that do that. So next up then, bars 11 and 12. This is taken from All My Life by Foo Fighters. So there is a fair amount of Taylor Hawkins inspiration in this PDF. So All My Life, it's the chorus, and it sounds a bit like this. Play that a little bit slower for you lot. So if you don't know the song All My Life by Foo Fighters, go and listen to it shortly after this, and you'll hear exactly what I mean. And it's still using that soaring technique that we talked about earlier, where you go from the bow up to the bell, where you're doing this sort of motion. So in a minute I'll play it again, and you'll see that in action. And I think there's another groove later on that uses that sort of action as well. So, you can see that that sort of soaring action is dominating one of the ways in which you can make interesting ride bell patterns. So I'll play it once again faster. Check that out. Maybe we'll do like the front cam again, just so you can see it in all its glory. Okay, good. All right, so we're now on to the second page of the PDF, and I've just got 2 more examples for you guys. Hopefully it's enough inspiration to improve how you play your beats on the ride cymbal. Okay, so this one was pulled from a remix that I recently did with one of my students. It's for Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars, and we're just trying to make the chorus a little bit vibier. So we upgraded it significantly. So with this one, the ride cymbal is sort of metronomic in the sense of it's playing on the 1, 2, 3, and 4 quite a lot. But there's something in that first bar on bar 12, sorry, I should say. Bar 12 has something about it. Sorry, bar 13, let me get that right. Bar 13 has something about it where it goes 3 a 4, and the snare drum takes the quarter note rather than the ride cymbal. It's probably better if I just play it for you. I'm probably making a right mission of explaining that. Here we go. So there's a few things that make this a little bit tough. A couple of common things I've noticed students struggle with. So the first tricky bit to do is probably where the second snare drum is, which happens to be falling on beat 4. That's the tough part, because you've got to try and get a snare and a bass drum as razor tight as possible. But the tricky thing is it's coming off of the bell a little bit awkwardly like this. And that quality alone makes it a little bit tricky for some players. Other than that, what makes it hard is potentially where it does this nice floor tom bit like this. And maybe just from like a sound point of view, it's quite tricky to do because you're going from the floor tom to the bell, and your target could, your accuracy of hitting the target could go down. Made a meal out of that one again. All right, so I'm going to play it like slow again, and then I'm going to build it up. But it certainly sounds cool just having that nice little like bell happening throughout, but the bell displaces itself a little bit. So hopefully you guys dig that one. Here we go again. Cool, very funky. All right, I've got one more pattern for you guys today, but like I said, I'm hoping that it's inspiring you to progress a little bit more with the ride cymbal. Try and find a little bit more melody from the ride cymbal rather than just staying one-dimensional. We want to try and get a couple more tones out of our ride cymbal, like the bell or even the edge, so you can turn it into a crash cymbal, but we weren't going to focus on the edge today. All right, so for all my students who have chosen this particular track from grade 6 when they're learning their grades through rock school, they may have chosen a track called Minesweeper, and Minesweeper has this really nice, very Stuart Copeland inspired polyrhythm beat. Okay, it's probably the best way to describe it. There's a polyrhythm hidden in this one that resolves itself over 2 bars, and of course these bars are 15 and 16 on the PDF. So I'll play it for you, I'll describe the polyrhythm, and then potentially break it down and play a bit slower. But this one is a little bit tricky. So it's definitely got a cool thing going for it. And let's try and figure out what the polyrhythm is. So if we just treat this as an 8th note driven groove, what's happening is we're doing bow, bell, pause, which lasts for 3 8th notes. Bow, bell, pause, bow, bell, pause, bow, bell, pause, like this. So of course we've got this phrasing of 3s moving within the 8th notes, which are usually viewed as 2s. So a 3 over 2 or a 3 within a 2 is how I describe that particular polyrhythm. So I'm going to play it slow for you now, and I suppose what makes this tricky is trying to figure out where the bass and snare drums fit around that particular polyrhythm. So I can see why this is in grade 6, and I can see why students get themselves into a couple of knots when they're trying this beat. You guys want to hear it super quick? Yeah, let's go for it. A little bit of improv along the way. So there you go, guys. There are a whole bunch of grooves that you can try and use to try and make this part of your kit just that little bit more interesting. So let's put the front cam back on for you guys. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can get from the ride cymbal, and I can see there's a question here from I think it's Ollie or Georgina Armour, but I know it's you, Ollie, dude. You're asking what ride cymbal do I have here? So I'm using a Sabian Artisan ride cymbal. I think it's a medium ride in 22 inch. So it's quite a large ride cymbal. Sounds absolutely gorgeous. But of course, all these grooves will work on any ride cymbal that you have, as long as like the bell feels really nice to play. And you can actually do it on other cymbals as well. So if I put the overhead cam on, and we'll go for this one over here, you can just about see it in the camera. This is a crash cymbal, but you can absolutely play it like a ride. Try it on another crash. So anything that has a bow and a bell, these techniques work on lots and lots of different cymbals, so don't just take it at face value for ride cymbal. It's just a way of getting a little bit more sound from existing parts of your kit. Plus all of them present their own interesting coordination challenges as well, so it's not for the faint-hearted. So that is everything I wanted to show you guys today. I'll just put you guys back on the full view. So I hope that everyone enjoyed that. And of course, I say again, do follow me on the social media. Hopefully I've earned your subscription, so give it a like or give me a follow. And if you did enjoy today's class as well and you're feeling kind and generous, you can also show your support through a donation via PayPal. But other than that, guys, I think that's all I have to say. I've got a really cool masterclass planned for next week, which I will be sharing more on soon. That's why you should follow me on social media so you can keep track of all these masterclasses that I'm doing at the moment. So other than that, I hope everyone is well and staying safe. I will keep an eye on the questions if you've got anything to say afterwards, and I will re-upload it to YouTube as well. But anyway, guys, that will do for today. So stay safe, and I'll see you again real soon.